Hey, how's it going? It's Daniel from the King Realty Group. Hope you're having a great day today. I know that I am. Today, the Raptors are playing. We're facing the Milwaukee Bucks. So this is the third game, actually the fourth game, because we're 2-1 right now, and I'm very excited. I'm actually wearing my Raptors gear right here. I am a fan. Okay, so hopefully we do well in this game because we're going to tie it up 2-2, and we're going to on our road to actually face the Golden State Warriors, which yesterday actually beat the Portland Trailblazers 4-0 in their series. And so I'm very excited about that. But we're also going to talk about numbers today, and that's normally what we do in these videos. So we're in May. We're actually talking about April 2018 numbers. We do it a little bit later in the month because we wait for our Urban Nation report, which is an amazing report that we're starting to get every month as well. It's not cheap to get that report as well, and the link is below to get that in full in PDF. We're going to chat about the average price points in the GTA, but including also different micro markets, York, Durham, Peel, and the city of Toronto. And we're looking at different price points for different housing types, detached, semis, townhomes, and apartments as well, condo apartments. And that's normally we take a look at this number. We're going to do that right about now. Beautiful. So welcome back again, guys. You know that we've been doing this for quite a while, actually over 2 years, if you didn't know that. And if you've been listening or watching my videos over this time, I appreciate you so much. Send me a quick note to let me know that you are actually watching and that you're at least reading the stuff that I put in the email here if you're looking at it on email. If you're on our social channels on YouTube, on Instagram, etc., we're going to start putting this on IGTV, I believe, because we put longer videos. And for all those people who are looking to get more information about the real estate market, it's a great place to start because you have a way better idea on a month-to-month basis of what's going on in our real estate market. Obviously very informative for anybody who's in the market right now to sell a property, or in the market right now to buy a property, or in the market to invest in property and find tenants, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the things that we help people out with. One of the first things we do, guys, is we take a look at the average numbers. And so let's do that. Let's pull up the numbers. We take a look at the average price point in the whole of GTA, but then we look at also different housing types as well. So let's put those numbers up. We'll take a look here at the GTA average price point right now. It is $820,148. That's actually up 1.9%. And if you didn't know, guys, we've kind of been hovering around that 2% or over 0, but under 2% mark for the last few months. It's been positive, but it's been relatively flat in terms of increases. However, there are other numbers that we're going to take a look at as well that are actually very positive as well. So we'll do that too. And my apologies for my friend in the background here. So the other thing we look at, guys, is the different housing types. So if you look at detached homes, we have them here at 1,018,147. That's actually up. That's actually down 1.3%. And we know the detached homes are a little bit different versus the other property types because of the last few months we noticed they've been dipping a bit, but again, still within that 2% range, still negative 1.3 in this case. But detached homes are the higher price point, a little bit more difficult to sell and less activity with those price points as well and those type of homes. This is why we're seeing these numbers. When we look at semi-detaches, guys, we're at 808,796. We're actually up 2% when it comes to those. Townhomes were up we're at 655,994, and we're actually up 1.6% there. And we look at condo apartments, we're at 588,168, and we're up 5.1 when it comes to condos. So condos have been very, very strong over the last few years, and we're still basically the property type that's been increasing in price more than anything else. So we're noticing that as well. One thing that I was actually pointing out in the last video is the fact that townhomes and condos are actually getting closer and closer together in terms of price. So I would tell you, if you're looking for a bigger condo, maybe you should be looking for a townhouse, because townhouses, generally speaking, are a little bit bigger than condos. But if you see the price difference is kind of narrowing down, then maybe it's an opportunity to move away from the apartment setting and go into a more townhouse, which, relatively speaking, provides you a different type of lifestyle. You have a door to your home from the street. You're not going into elevators. You're not sharing a lot of common element amenities, for example, in a lot of cases. And so it's more like a single family home versus the condo apartment lifestyle, which very, very different thing. But I would say that if you're looking for a bigger townhouse or a bigger condo, you should be maybe looking at townhouses as well, because you might be able to get something good. Sound good? Perfect. So guys, let's take a look at sales now. Let's bring that number up. Definitely a difference from last month, which we were in the 7,000 range. We're at 9,042 sales. That's actually up 16.8% from last year. That's a huge increase in sales. It lets us know that activity is actually up. this time of year in 2019 versus last year, significantly so. Now, having said that, it's a little bit lower still than our 10-year average or 10-year sales average for the last 10 years for the month of April. We're still a little bit under that, but still a lot higher than our activity in the last year, which is great. Okay, and there's a few other stats I'm going to talk about a little later related to that sales figure. Okay, let's take a look, guys, at our months of inventory now. It gives us a better idea if we're in a seller or in a buyer market. These are the numbers I tend to go to if I'm trying to figure out, what type of market we're in. So let's take a look at first Toronto. Toronto, we see we're at 1.66 months of inventory. Inventory is down, sales are up. Sometimes that pushes prices up, guys, and our months of inventory is pretty low in the city of Toronto, and a lot of pockets in the city of Toronto are heated markets. There's multiple offers. I've been in multiple offers with a few different clients over the last couple of months. We've won a couple, we've lost some, but we've been very successful in eventually winning one. When it comes to multiple offers, there's always way more losers than there are winners. Okay, only one person gets to buy the house, and whoever else offered is unfortunately out of luck. But the good thing is that there's decent amount of inventory and things are moving. And I would say that in the city of Toronto, depending on where you're looking, it could be a little bit more difficult than other places. When you look at the other way to see this is sales to active listing ratio, and we have that at 60%, which is definitely crossing over into a seller market territory. Still kind of balanced because we're that 40 to 60% is more of a balanced market. We're still kind of in there, but we're inching up, it seems. Okay, Durham region, we have it at 1.87 months of inventory, so still low inventory there as well, and 54% sales to active listing, which shows that we're in a balanced market, tipping to a seller, already depending on where you are, what type of property you own, what type of property you're selling, what type of property you're buying. It all really depends. Okay. In Peel region, guys, we're at 1.54 months of inventory, so definitely heating up in Peel. At the moment, I don't have a property. Well, we do have a couple properties that are coming up for sale. I'm not helping a lot of buyers out in the Peel region at the moment, but maybe very soon. And, if anybody's selling in the Peel region, this actually is a very, very encouraging number. And we do have a couple listings coming up, which is amazing. Crossing into the seller market region, if we're at 65 sales to active listing ratio, we're looking at that number. We're technically in the seller's market. We're above 60%. Go figure. In York region, guys, we're improving a lot. We're at 3.16 months of inventory. I think last month we're at 3.5. Sales to active listing ratio is about 32%. We're moving closer into the balanced market, still tipped over into the buyer side when you go to York region. So my brother actually, he lives downtown in a condo. His wife owns a condo downtown as well. They were talking to me about Richmond Hill, and I was saying, well, if you guys are going to go to a detached house and you're thinking about York region, this might be the time. You're going to go out there and buy something for $800,000-$900,000, and there's people in your neighborhood that probably bought in the same street for 1.2. I know that's not the greatest news for the people who own on that street, but anybody who's looking to get in, this might be the time in York region. Okay, guys? So I'm hoping those numbers help you out a bit, gives you a better idea of what the GTA price points are, gives you a better idea of if we're in a balance or in a seller market, or in a buyer market when it comes to our markets. And I think those are the things that you need to kind of keep on top of. Supply and demand is huge when it comes to real estate, and I can only show you what happened, and I can only kind of interpret and give you an idea of what may happen into the future. Okay, let's take a look at some of the key highlights, guys. One of the greatest things that I'm starting to provide you guys is an Urbanation report. This is something that there's literally a team of people who look at these numbers, dissect them, create charts, and give you a way better idea as to what's going on with our numbers, and can predict a little bit more of what's going to happen maybe into the near future. Obviously, predicting into the long term is very, very difficult. It's impossible, to be honest. And so at least these gives us some insights what's going on now, and gives us an idea what may happen over the next few months. So some of those highlights are these. So home sales have increased 17% from last year, 16.8 to be exact. And that's still a little bit under the 10-year average for sales in the month of April. However, we are getting there. It's definitely a lot bigger improvement from last year. There was also a huge stat that some other people might not be reporting is this. It's 26% sales increase month to month from March to April. Now, in a 10-year average, that's normally about 13%. When we go from March into April, there's about a 13% jump in sales on an average basis. But this year, we actually jumped 26%. That's double the average, over the last 10 years, which shows us that from whatever reason, from March to April, activity increased like crazy, and that's actually very good because you see a lot of movement in our neighborhoods, a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers. A couple of things here. Sales are starting to trend a little higher as well. So if I'm looking at the 3-month moving average, we notice that we're in a positive number now, which goes to shows us that over the last few months, sales have been positive compared to the previous the previous years, and that trend is likely to continue over the next few months as well. My apologies, a little bit of a message here.
Extension 282. That's for Eddie. Thank you.
Pick up that phone, Eddie. Anyway, so sales to new listing ratios above 50%. When we're talking about the Toronto area, we saw that it was at 60% in Toronto, and in a lot of other markets you can look up. Peel region was above 60% as well. Durham was above 50% as well. Only York region was a little bit under at 32%. That's showing us, guys, that we're at a balanced level, market at the moment across the majority of our regions, and that's very good because you're going to have a little bit of a buying power. You're going to have an ability to negotiate deals. As a seller, you're going to be a little bit more patient, but that's probably the better way to be at. I've seen buyers be frustrated in a huge seller market where everything is a bidding war, and I've seen sellers be very disappointed trying to sell homes in a buyer market on New York region, for example. So it's better to be in a balance where things are selling at market value, people are selling their homes, buyers are getting good deals. That stuff is happening right now. So it's just really, really great. So again, guys, another thing though, higher sales compared to lower inventory normally creates an environment of increased prices. There's going to be a pressure on prices if inventory does not raise to the same level as sales. For example, we just had an increase of 60% in sales, but we only had an increase of 8% in new listings. That's double the amount of sales compared to the listings that we have coming into the marketplace. That's gonna inherently decrease our months of inventory. It's gonna mess up our numbers here with the months of inventory and sales to active listing ratio. You're gonna start seeing over the months, if this continues to happen, we're gonna have lower months of inventory, and our sales to active listing ratio is going to increase higher and higher as well. So we'll see how that trends out and how it holds up for the next few months. We're going to keep an eye on that one. Another thing, guys, prices are up 1.9% versus 2018. This is 4 months in a row that we're positive, but still relatively flat. And that's probably since the beginning of the year. Having said that, though, over the last 20 years, our increase in price has been on average 6.8%. So we're well below that 6.8% that we've experienced over the last 20 years in the first few months of 2018. Keep this in mind, though, and I wrote this in the bottom as well. Prices are down about 11% from our peak price in 2017, 11% down from 2 years ago. But we're actually up 11% from 3 years ago. So from 2016, we're actually up 11% from that mark, but we're down 11% from 2017. And just to spin it a little bit more, over the last 5 years, our average price has increased by 42% or 8.4%, right? So depending on where you start and where you stop, you can kind of skew these numbers to paint a lot of different pictures. I like using the greater range of time. So the last 5 years, we've increased in price 42% or 8.4%. That is huge. Even though from last year to this year, we've only gone up 1.9%. Over the last 5 years, it's averaged out to about 8.4, even though in 2017, we had a huge dip in our marketplace. So keep that in mind, guys. And this is the place to come if you need to get more information on the market stats, on what's going on in our GTA markets. I do cover a big range, guys. York region, Durham, Toronto, Peel. Those are big markets. To get from one side to the other in traffic, it might take you 2.5 hours, right? And so having said that, your specific situation, I may not be speaking to you right now, but if you need more information about your particular street, about your particular community, there's so many micro markets and the differences between them is so big that I need to really delve in and look at the numbers and look at your particular area to give you a better idea of what's going on with you. All right. So get in touch, guys. info@kingrealty.to, 647-931-1313 at King Realty TO and all our socials. You have a good day for now. Go Raptors, go. Take care.